Welcome to the second session. This is me again. Just to remind you, if you want to follow all of our updates, there are on these links. You can follow us on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and we are posting there more and more information. At the end, it's actually pretty good for you because we will have, using that hashtag, all of the images and photos and videos that we will take during the actual event. So just remember to follow us, and we will have more information all the day. So I wanted to check if all of the teams are here. I can actually not see right now, but if the teams are here, please raise your hand. Danatara, Truster, Radar, Echo Breaker, Gecko, France and Portugal for the win, Meta NGO, Sunflower, the Democracy Defender, and Discoxia. Good, guys. Good to have you here all. And I know that not all of you are here, but we will be recording the sessions. Today is a very, very important session for reasons we discussed in the previous event, but we'll discuss that very soon. Then we will have on the 16th of June at the same time the final warm-up session when we will discuss more about the legalities and the compliance of things that you will be doing. We will have two other mentors that part coming from the Council of Europe that will be discussing these kind of legalities and all of the structures of tools that they have planned for this event. Let's just continue. There's a couple of things that we will be sharing with you today. The first one is the starter kit. What is a starter kit? Is just a combination of all of the tools that you need, as well as all of the material that is going to be necessary for you to win this contest. Actually, during this specific session, we will share with you the first template of the first deliverable. Now, very important. I will discuss it in depth in a second. You will have to deliver this on the 18th, 2 whole days before the hackathon. So please remember that. Then today I also will share with you the Teams folder. It's fairly easy to use. I'll explain to you as we go, but they will have the two presentations. Ideally, you work on them directly online. If you have any problems or you do not use Google services, okay, you can download it and work on it. But then the team leader is in charge of putting it back in, because I need on the 18th, since you're going to be presenting in front of an audience. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into what you have to do. That is more for the mentors to explain. These are the mentors of today's session. Let me introduce to you very quickly. Flora Kopelou, she's a communication manager at data.europa.eu, communications office of the European Union, and mentor at Women's Hub for Empowerment and Networking. Arturo Ortega is the TCUX founder, problem-solving strategist, innovation consultant, and mentor and speaker. And finally, we've got Natalia Voutova, social behavior change lead at Council of Europe and head of Council of Europe office to Georgia. That being said, let me just share with you how this starter kit looks like. You will have access to this document. You will not be able to edit, hopefully or thankfully, but then you will have all of the information right here. First, you've got all of the index, and when you see here, you can just be driven very quickly to the place that you need to be. For example, where the venue is located, you see it, and you click on it, and that's that. The important things for today, then, because I'm not going to explore the entire file, is that the deliverable one is already going to be explained today. Here is the due date. So it's very important by the 18th that you have completed this task by midday. And then the format will be shared with you also today. So these two files. Then you can go through all of it on your own time. But again, you need to present it by the 18th. Here is how the folders work. So I'm going right now, Danatara folder is one of the teams. You will receive these two deliverables. If you click on deliverable one, you will see the document that you need to, again, finish by the 18th. And if you click on deliverable 2, you're not going to find anything. Why? Because we're going to present that during the hackathon itself. So remember, you will have all of the information about the file and the document, but you're not going to be able to work on this. You can already start discussing it. That's not going to be any problem for you. And then how does it look? As you can see, you will have here the name of your team, and then you will have the name of your teammates, and finally, you will have this slide example. Please do not leave a slide that says slide example there. Just go there and switch it to another topic. Now, you also not entirely, there's nothing written on stone. You don't like it here, put it there. You don't like this image, throw it there. So it's all about your creativity and how you can work it around. So it's not a problem. The important thing is in the details. If you see down here, this is the last slide. What is important for me, only from my perspective, is slides are supposed to be supporting your speech, not the other way around. So remember, you have these 3 slides to work it as you see fit. Other than that, I think this is everything that I've got. Now, just before we begin, I'll pass the word to Arturo. The important thing is they're going to be talking about different topics. If you have any questions about the specific topic, my advice, write it down, because then we will have some time for the Q&A right at the end. With that said, I'll leave the word to you, Arturo. Please go ahead and share your screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hugo, and welcome everyone to this Democracy Files Hackathon. And we'll see each other in person the next week. I have some expertise on collective intelligence, and it's really cool since collective intelligence, it's about the intelligence that emerged from the dynamic of groups. But there's another term which is really interesting, that is the collective stupidity. And the collective stupidity is when misinformation and fake news is spread around, and people start to think with wrong fundamentals. So our goal in this hackathon is to be on the right path for transparency, proper information, and access to real information out there. So that's why we are on this hackathon. This hackathon will be about 2 main deliverables. Remember, we have deliverable number 1, which is your live pitch. You already did the hardest thing, which is to be a participant in this hackathon with your initiative. First deliverable, it's about to communicate your idea in 3 minutes to simplify the complexity of your approach for that problem. That's why our mentor Flora will give you some of the best practices for communicating effectively to this audience. It will be a bunch of people of 300 persons, all of them intelligent, but at the same time human. So to connect with them, it's really, really important. Flora, your turn, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Arturo, for the introduction. Thank you also to all of you for attending today, and congratulations once again for making it here, because as Arturo mentioned, this was the toughest part. Now you have to just enjoy, be focused, and maybe follow some of the practices, guidelines, advice we will share with you. As Hugo and Arturo mentioned, I will touch upon now deliverable number 1. The deliverable is that you have to share to submit by 18th of June, meaning 2 days in advance of the main hackathon event, where we will see each other in person. In order to do that, you must just create a presentation to describe what is going to be the solution that you are proposing. On this one, the main purpose would be to showcase your strength, the originality of your idea, also showcase what is the problem you're solving, what is the proposed solution that you have in mind, describe a high-level idea that you have, who is going to help, and why it is matter, and why it will be you behind this. So the main objective would be to prepare your slides, in one hand, but then, and this is why I would like to share with you this presentation, a big part of that we often forget is we take our time, we prepare our slides, we submit our slides, but then we will have to present the slides in front of a big audience with diverse background. So what I'm going to do right now from my side, I will share my screen and show you one of the toolkits we have prepared with you, some guidelines that can help you throughout your live team pitch. Let me see, and I will ask also my colleagues to confirm if they can share my screen. And they can see my screen. And
yes.
Okay, perfect. Then, perfect. So, how you will structure your live team idea pitch. If you could raise your virtual hand and let me know how many of you have already done something similar, have already participated, presented on an idea pitch. And maybe Hugo or someone else from my colleagues can let me know how many hands we have more or less raised. And if we have any hands raised.
Not yet, I guess.
Okay. So if it's new for everyone, that's a great start because we will start super fresh. I guess some of you have already made a presentation or presented somewhere in your work, in your studies, in front of, even like pitching in front of friends. I can always get in your shoes. It's always an anxious activity to perform. For some people it comes more naturally. For some other people it requires time to do so. And this is why we are here. I'm a person from my side quite anxious, so I always tend to prepare myself, prepare my mind and my body, as well as prepare what I'm presenting in order to be my most true self throughout the presentation. So the most important thing about your live pitch is you have your slides ready, which is something you will be done with by 18th of June. And then it's your time to showcase what you have worked on and how to do so. Think about your pitch as a short film. This is what I always say to myself. What it requires: a very strong opening, your story arc, which is the problem you have and the solution you're going to prepare, and a punchy finale. In order to do so, you have to prepare yourself in advance. And this is not only required to the script that you want to work on together with your teammates, but also prepare your own self, your mind and body before entering the stage. I don't know if you've been watching any videos of speakers that inspired you, some TEDx videos, but there's sometimes that I'm watching a video and I see a speaker walking on stage, they have not even spoken yet, and instantly they command your attention, like you see their presence without even saying a word. And sometimes I assume, is this just their own energy? But I have learned from experience that it's not only one's energy, it's also the preparation that you are doing in advance, meaning having your own rituals before entering, doing breath work, taking some time to present and prepare in front of your teammates, in front of the mirror. Maybe our energy will start even before your voice speaks. So some quick questions that I have for you, and you should ask yourself and your teammates before entering the stage, because we're talking about a presentation if in front of a big number of people. I don't know if I can already share the number of people, Hugo, but we will let you know in the end of the session. It's always important to feel the best as your own self, meaning how you have prepared your body and mind before, and in case, because sometimes we prepare ourselves, but things can also not go according to our plan. Do I have a backup plan? Do I have someone in my team that can step in if something goes wrong? Do I have my script nearby? There are many things to be taken into consideration, not because things will go wrong. Most of the times things will go better than we assume, but to always feel the most confident while presenting. So now we're going to the important part. This is the time to start with our strong opening. And how we can do that, we're sharing a few strategies that you can use. Obviously, you should always use a thing that is more comfortable and closer to who you are while presenting. You should never try to be someone else. This is suggestion number one. We are not mentioning, but you should take into consideration just first of all, be you. We're talking about a speech of 4 minutes max, meaning you have not a lot of time to create your first impressions. The best way to start is either using a story, the story of how you ended up working on the solution, a story related to the preparation that you have done as a team, a story of who you are as a team and why you are there. It's up to you how you want to phrase a story. Another suggestion would be to ask a question. Sometimes this question might be rhetorical, you might not even expect an answer for your audience. It's mostly to put them into the idea of what you're going to present. You can also always quote someone, especially if someone that you have in mind has been inspiring for your own presentation, for your own work as a team, and build up on this quote. Or share a surprising fact, something that people might be aware of, a statistic related to what you're doing, something that will help them lean on what you're working. And lastly, you can even show an image and video, something that will attract them visually in your presentation. And these are just best practices. Obviously, first thing first, you should do what makes you feel more comfortable as a speaker. The key question that you should ask to yourself and also to your teammates, because you will need to take also the feedback of your teammates during this, is, does the opening make people lean? Like, do people actually take these few moments and understand what you are going to work on? Is it memorable and engaging within these first 60 seconds? It doesn't have to be 60 seconds, it can be less, but is it something that at the end of the day, they will finish with the rest of the pitches and they will remember this moment? So first impressions always create lasting impact. Then we're entering to the main story. It's your time to be heard. It's your time to showcase what you're going to work on, how you're going to do it. And this is also the time that in the majority of the cases, most pitches fail. And it's not because of bad ideas, because I'm pretty sure you have amazing ideas. This is why you are also being selected to be here with us. But it's about poor delivery. And poor delivery doesn't have to do with someone not knowing what they're talking about. It has to do with the way that they are deliver their idea. So you can follow a very simple rule. We call it C rule, which is simplicity, meaning be as simple as possible on the way that you speak. It's not your time to start using fancy words or vocabulary that you are not familiar with. I know that maybe for many of us, English is not our native language, and it's not also this time to complicate ourselves. We have to speak and understand ourselves while speaking. This is the most important thing. You will feel the most confident when you're understanding what you're presenting to others. Emotion. When I'm mentioning emotion is, I am speaking to just give facts and read the slide I have in front of me, or I'm connecting emotion. I try to share my experience with my audience. And lastly, energy. And by energy, I don't say to be over the top, to be loud, to be very to move yourself in a way that is not familiar with you, meaning bring your own energy, but your full energy to the stage. And the key questions I would ask myself and I would ask my teammates would be, am I connected emotionally or just giving facts, really? And would I stay engaged if I were in the shoes, if I were in the position of the audience? These are very important questions, and you should be also open to give feedback to your teammates and receive feedback while doing so. Now we're moving on the final pants. This is the end, this is our finale, these are our last seconds of our presentation. And this is the time to make also a strong final impression that the judges, the audience will not forget. Summarize your key ideas. Whatever you mentioned during your story arc, this is a good time to share it as some bullet points. Ask for a clear action if you require something from the audience. It's also your time to do so. Link back to your introduction, especially if you have prepared, started with a story. Now it's your time to close your story. It's your time to create this link to the initial storyline you had in place. And don't forget to thank the audience. Sometimes we are so anxious that we tend to forget to thank our audience. So this is just some simple advice in order to finalize. Key questions to ask yourself: what final message do I want them to remember? What do I want them to remember about my solution, about what we're going to work for? This is a very important step that you have to discuss internally as a team of what you want to share and what you want them to remember. And having closed the loop I opened at the beginning, this is in case you're using a story as your initial moments. As we mentioned, that was our little short film. Some extra do's and don'ts that you should take into consideration while following this structure of presentation is pick who is pitching ahead of time. So after we're finished with the session, have a discussion with your teammates, already thinking who is going to pitch, how many people, how we're gonna divide. Think about it in advance, because as we mentioned, slides are important. They should be prepared, but it's also requiring a bit more preparation to find someone that is the most relevant to make this speech. Plan out your slides and content. You have to do so because we have, as once again, the delivery of deliverable 1 by 18th of June. Watch Arturo's video to boost your confidence. You will find in your starter kit that Hugo just mentioned a video that will help you prepare yourself to remember our first initial step regarding the preparation of the body, the body, mind, as well as some other best practices for your speech. Watch this video. I totally recommend you. I actually have used it already on my own presentations, Arturo. And practice your pitch and time in order to stay on track, because you might have the most excellent idea, the most excellent pitch, but if you don't stay on track, you might end up without having an ending or without even finishing your story arc. For the rest, for the don'ts, obviously don't read straight away from the script. Don't skip practicing handoffs in case you are many people, and don't forget to practice the Q&A. I will not go through the last slide. I will because I already mentioned everything you see here. What is your idea at the team idea pitch? It's your time to sell your idea and show why it's worth building to your judges. So the only thing I would say to you, avoid being too technical because you will see a plethora of judges, and don't overpromise without having a realistic plan. That's all from my side for now. I will stop sharing and I will give the floor back to Arturo.
Thank you so much, Flora. So this was the deliverable number 1, which is, guys, your priority, because it's the first deliverable that you have to send and to manage. Then we're going to speak about deliverable number 2. Deliverable number 2 happens during the hackathon, but you can work some stuff in advance. So that's why we are giving you the introduction of the toolkits. And mainly, deliverable number 2, which is the proof of concept, is composed of 3 milestones from the empathy and feasibility team. The first one, it's about stating the problem and the challenge. The number two, it's to empathize with your user. And number three, it's to have a timeline for feasibility. That's all. Those tools will help you to generate a final presentation for the proof of concept. So I will start speaking about the first tool, which is the problem to challenge guide. As an introduction, Natalia, Flora, and I, we curated a set of tools from design thinking and also cognitive science and simplify and adapt them for this hackathon. The first one, which is the problem to challenge guide, it's mainly to clarify what's the problem and how would you address the problem. That's the objective of this first tool. And basically, the structure that we simplified to you guys for the problem stating, it's to answer three questions. I'll tell you that you already have it done because I assume that there is a problem and that's why you applied this hackathon. But just to be clear, to show it to the judges, here is the three main questions that you have to answer and some reflection questions that you have. The first one is, what's the situation? You need to show evidence of problem understanding. You need to show us that you didn't go directly to the solution, that you at least have conversations, reflections, and research from the problem. And one of the reflection questions that we have here is, for example, what observable evidence or data do you have? Where and when does this situation typically occur? What are the root causes behind the issues? It's basically that the problem really exists and it's relevant for the Council of Europe. The second question is who's your user? Who is affected? And the reflection question we have here is how do different people groups experience the situation? Are they key stakeholders involved? And when we say key stakeholders is either organizations, users, vulnerable communities, who is an actor in or your user in this situation or problem. And the third one, why it matters. Show urgency and relevance. I, Arturo, have tons of problems, but I have so few that I need to intervene right away. In our society, we have tons of problems, but why this matters and it's urgent to invest not only our time in the hackathon, but also resources if you become winners of this hackathon. What happens if this problem isn't solved? Why is now the right time to address it? How does it solving the problem can create value to organizations? These are the three main questions you have to solve. As you can notice, here it says tool template. The tool itself is marked on yellow. So this is a tool that you need to address, and you can change the structure of this. You can turn it into a table or whatever you want, but please solve these three questions. What's the situation? Who is affected? And why it matters? Now that you have clarity about the problem and visibility of it, it's time to articulate a challenge. A challenge gives direction and intention about how you will address this problem. And it's basically structured in three main topics. What's your goal, AKA what you're gonna do, or who, and how, the leverage point, your intervention area. You can change the order of these elements and you can add more elements, but please have it simple and clear and at the same time strategic. The intent of goal is what's your team main intention. For example, empower participations, help to identify fake news. Your user is your who, young people, local community, a certain country, and the leverage point, how? With LED workshops, with digital tools, with partnership and local leaders. by intervening on the filtering Instagram feed from fake news. I don't know. Basically, it's how you will address it. The tool template is to fill out these parentheses variables. For example, in a social innovation example could be, how might we improve nutrition, which is my goal in this illustrative example, to children in rural schools, which is my who, my user, by, and this by, it's my intervention area, how I will address this. Enabling local farmers to supply fresh produce directly. You already have this blurry. You have to ground it and structure it in a simple, clear, and strategic way for the judges in order to understand what they're gonna do. This challenge makes a lot of sense given the evidence of the problem situation, because now we know why it matters. This is basically the tool, the first tool of the second deliverable, which is the problem challenge guide. Now as a team, we already know why our problem matters and the evidence about its existence. And also we have direction and intention because we already have a challenge. Now it's time to address it with an empathetic way, which is tool number 2. It's the insight feature canvas. The insight feature canvas, it's constructed because there's an insight of our user, which is a real experience, and given that insight, there's a feature or a solution that addresses it directly, because this is human-centered or citizen-centered design. We're not trying to change how the citizens behave to fit our solution. It's backwards. We need to understand our citizens in order to generate a solution that fits into their behavior. The insight feature canvas is built in this way. Here we write our user, for example, young people, we already know this. Our user job to be done, which is the main goal that they have to achieve. And Natalia will get deep into these variables. And the insight section will write our gain or enabler of change to achieve this job to be done, this objective. 3 gains and 3 pains or barriers to achieve this job to be done. For each gain or enabler, there's a feature. So you go from left to right, because first you understand the user, then you generate or design a feature set for the solution. How we will do it, and to get deeper into the elements, Natalia, as an expert of cognitive science, will help us to address it. Natalia, your turn. Natalia?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Okay. You should be seeing it.
Yeah, we see it. We're seeing it. Yeah, we are on slide number 4.
Natalia, can you hear us?
Let's go to slide number.
Okay.
All right.
But je peux pas le mettre.
Yeah, you can start right there.
Okay, we're good. You see my slides, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, just in a very simple way, actually, when you deal with disinformation and misinformation and misleading information, you need to take into account that according to behavioral science, we have 2 systems in our brain, system 1 and system 2. Unfortunately, most of the time when these kind of phenomena are addressed, we target system 2, which is the rational thinking of human beings, and actually only about 5-10% of the decisions that we make per day are part of system 2. And now it has been established that human beings make around 30,000 decisions per day. So our brain is overloaded with information. It is overwhelmed with the necessity to make decisions. So our fallback system is system 1. And actually, the people who are there to create misinformation, misleading information, disinformation, they're excellent specialists in neuroscience, in behavioral science. They know how to handle that. So now actually if we are to use neuroscience for common good and to fight this kind of phenomena, we need to take this into account, that we need to tap into the system 1 where decisions are made on in an associative way, oftentimes on autopilot. This is the fast part of our brain, and also the unconscious one, most importantly. So the very important thing when you will be designing your product is to look at it from the systems thinking perspective. And the systems thinking is a mindset. It is not a set of knowledge, but something to be aware of. And again, people who are there to produce misinformation, they're huge experts actually in system thinking. So there are some important features of system thinking that you need to take into account: the interconnectedness of the stakeholders. And Arturo just mentioned it too, that we need to understand our citizens, and this is very important. It has to be a human-centered approach where we take into account the needs, the motivation, the frustrations of all the participants in the system: citizens, CSOs, institutions, business, churches, and you name it. And you have also to take into account the behavior of these different participants. And again, as I said, these are the behaviors motivated by different kind of motivations, motivated by frustrations, very importantly motivated by fear, because fear, it is something that is very much the driving phenomena for misinformation, disinformation, and misleading information. The second aspect is that you need to, your product will emerge in a certain context, in an economic, political, social, and cultural context, and you need to bear it in mind. Most probably, you come from this context, so you know it very well. But you might also want to check it with some of the participants, for some of the audience, to conduct some 3, 4, 5 interviews to see how they perceive the context. Why is it important? Because human beings, we are social animals, and for us, social norms, peer pressure, community expectations, relationships, cultural values are very, very important. And pretty much all the decisions that we make, the actions that we undertake are formatted, motivated by the context. And I mean, we decided to offer you a framework which is used in behavioral science, which can be very, very useful for your work. So you need to produce, to have a product which is going to be easy to use. As we already established, our brains are overloaded with information. And also the decisions that we make on a daily basis. And it has also been established that we tend as human beings to give up on difficult tasks. So the easiest, the simpler it is, the better it is. The product needs to be attractive. It has to be noticeable in the community. It should stand out in the community, in the audience that you would know, that you would have tested their expectations before. It has to be social. It has already been mentioned that as social animals, we are very much dependent on the context, on the environment that we evolve, and it has to be timely, meaning that it has to be rolled out at a certain point where actually the product meets the expectations of the audience. So that's pretty much it on my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. I will share my screen right now. So just as a closing part of this tool, so you have to remember this tool template. Who is your user? Your user job to be done. Remember that the goal is not your goal as designers preventing fake news. It's the goal as a user, for example, sharing news. So if I want to share news, what are the enablers of change? Remember, the mindset of section number 1, which is insight, it's people is lazy and irrational, and we think on system number 1, which is low energy and low RAM memory. Solution section, it's to keep in mind that we have to generate something that is easy to use or simple to use or timely to use or social relevant to use. That's the mindset that we are suggesting. And here is an example. For example, young moms, make sure my kids eat healthier, inside session. Game wants to feel like a responsible and role model mom. For example, a solution, provide clear, easy to understand nutrition data. So this is an example. Okay, let's go to the final tool. So remember, tool number 1, it's about the problem stating and also the challenge stating. Tool number 2, it's about understanding the user, keeping in mind that we think on system number 1 with low RAM memory, and we have to design something that fits into that context. The third one, it's really easy to use, that it's a timeline. Once that you already finished your prototype or your intervention in the hackathon, let's have a glimpse about what's coming next. What's coming next, it's which are the milestones on your implementation stage that it's after the hackathon that you will face. And given those milestones, what actions or challenges do you think that you will face? Why? Because it shows maturity, but you at least know what will happen next. Probably in the second or third milestone, everything will be blurry because you will know that the first milestone happened in the next month. Probably this one happens in 6 months. And after the 6th month, you don't know exactly what will happen. But at least show us your visibility. For example, month number 1, we will build a prototype, field testing, feedback report. The next milestone we think that will happen in month number 4, law assessment, which is legal access, action, and so on. So let us know what will happen in the 3 next milestones. The time frame, you will put it. We don't know if this happens in month number 1, number 2, and number 3 on each quarter of year. But please let us know what will happen next. Basically, these are the 3 tools that you will fill out in order to be ready for your proof of concept. With this said, let's start our Q&A block, and we can do the recall or the tools that we've already seen to know if you have any doubt, reflection, or challenges that you might face in the in-person hackathon.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, mentors. Now, please, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll let you speak. Just let us know if you have any specific questions about all of the presentations that the mentors did. Or it can be as well about the presentation. Maybe a couple of things I want to emphasize is the fact that you will have 3 minutes to present in front of an audience of around 300 people. So it's important for you to be ready and to just really time your presentation. Anyway, anybody has a question? Please raise your hand.
Or how do you feel?
Maybe they are a bit still shy and also trying to take on all this information we have shared. But yes, feel free to let us know.
If you're shy in this little audience, imagine it's very important that you train for the.
Imagine.
All right, Dorle, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hello, guys. I have one question. I want to ask if I understood all this thing correctly. As I understood, the main focus is on working on the idea and on the way how we are going to present it and to pitch it, and not so much on the actual prototype or the technical side of things. Or is there something I missed?
Hugo, I think that you're the best one for this one.
Very well. So the idea right now is that you've been selected. Your idea was selected, in a long list of many other project concept notes, and now you are supposed to present each idea, taking into consideration a few things. What are those two things? The criteria. You've been giving that criteria that we are looking to, and all of the tools. So in a very, very lean way, you have to clarify your problem statement into 3 slides that you're gonna be introducing in front of an audience. So your idea was cool, but we want you just to make it better, cleaner, and now speak in front of the people, like a lot of people.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
Yeah, sure thing. Anybody else have a question? Remember maybe to consider that you have only 3 slides. And remember also that slides can be supported, and the timing is essential.
Exactly what Hugo mentions, it's very important, the timing, the slides, the content per se, but even how clear is the content, how precise. It doesn't have to be, still it's not your final product, but it has to have the clarity and focus on what you want to present, and think also already who is going to present from your side. That's also very important. Sorry, Hugo, for jumping in.
No, absolutely. This is the right way. I think that if I was one of the teams, I will definitely start checking out, getting a meeting between all of us and try to see who is the best at public speaking. I mean, just the first thing, just have an idea, okay, have you done that in the past, or do you do that often at work? Anyway, go ahead, Arturo.
Yes, and also, if it is true that the priority right now is deliverable number 1, for deliverable number 2, please at least reflect on the problem, your user, try to do some research, try to speak with people, try to be charged and recharged from the problem understanding and empathy with the user, so you can ground everything into the frameworks during the hackathon. So please don't isolate yourself for the problem that you're trying to solve. Let's get involved. That will be my suggestion before the hackathon or deliverable number 2.
Any other question, guys? While you raise your hand, I'm just going to remind you again, I'll be sending you the starter kit and your team folder. One last chance. Any other question?
When there are not questions either, it was really well explained, or people are totally confused. Hopefully, it was really well explained.
And obviously, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us also at a later stage.
Larissa, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi. Nice to see you all. My question would be very technical. Would we receive some guidelines, or things that we need to know for the presentation, just in very short, hot points, or points which are very strict to the point, what we should be doing at the presentation itself? Will it be in the guideline, in the kit, or somewhere?
In the starter kit, you will get all of the indications, all of the tools that you require, all of the assets that are needed. But ideally, once we're there, at a very early stage, we will have, of course, a presentation, introduction. Our event is part of a parent event, and you will be introducing in a hemicycle in front of this audience. But by then, once you already talk to your teams, prepare those 3 minutes, decide who's going to be speaking or how many of you will be speaking, then you'll be ready to present in front of the audience. By then, there will be very little to discuss. My only advice is double shot of espresso and then go at it.
And just to add on this, Larissa, when you receive the starter kit, you will see exactly what is the purpose, what should be the purpose of your deliverable, as well as what to be included. So you will see it's very clear.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you for your question. Anybody else? You will receive then now the starter kit then in the folder. You might have any other questions later. So my advice is, of course, just ping us. We are ready to answer all of your questions. And yeah, that will be all. I think then we're set. Thank you all for attending. I wish you a great day. And remember, we've got one last warm-up session on the 16th at 4 p.m. Thank you for attending to this one and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.